Teacher knowledge and behavior is the component of the model that focuses on teachers' knowledge of students and content, and on their expertise in classroom management and pedagogy. Teacher behavior is the element of teacher knowledge and behavior that encompasses classroom management and pedagogy. More information on this can be found in the Technology as Facilitator of Quality Education model. The students are working on a WebQuest activity, in which they have to determine the location in the solar system that is best suited for human colonization. The students have already collected information about human survival needs on Earth. They now have to use their critical thinking skills to analyze the information. The students work in groups to determine what they think is the single most important thing that humans need to survive. The teacher monitors the students as they work together in groups. As learners try to reach a consensus on the topic, the instructor encourages them to remember ways of solving disagreement within the group. This demonstrates conduct management, an element of classroom management.
Sid, what do we do when we have a disagreement like in the classroom? Vote. That would be one way to solve it, to vote. Are you the only one saying something?
Saying something with him.
You're saying something with him? Have you explained why you think these things?
I'm saying that air should go first because you only can last a minute. You only can last a minute without air, but you can last 24 hours without water. That's a good point.
Okay, see, if you make your point, sometimes it'll change people's minds. Sometimes it won't, but sometimes it will.
The instructor demonstrates content management, an element of classroom management, by providing an overview of the next activity. She gets her students' attention and explains the objectives and procedures for the next part of the lesson. She praises the students for the work they have done so far, and she clearly connects the previous activity to the next one.
Great. Here's what we need to do now. You guys have some good ideas. I have looked, and there was good discussion. You knew a lot about what we need. What we need to do now is, just like we've done with the solar system rescue, we've got to agree as a class. So now you all have one of these charts, and really the only part of this chart that we're going to concern ourselves with right now is right across here. Needed for survival, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Everybody needs to have one of these and fill it out, because it'll be something you'll be using as you continue on with the WebQuest. I don't know if some of your groups can see this, but over here we've got the same chart that was in it's actually on my computer on a disk. So I'll fill them in as we go too. Anybody want to start? What do you think? What did your group think that was most needed for survival? Shahid, what did your group think?
Students have to come up with various ideas about what would be the most important in order to successfully colonize a planet or moon in our solar system. All the groups are invited to share their input, and the teacher presents the ideas to the whole class. The students feel that their opinions are valued and that they are contributing to the class discussion. The teacher is able to keep the whole class focused on the activity by including everyone in the activity and by asking questions that help the students clarify their positions. This demonstrates content management, an element of classroom management.
Ideas that we've heard already are water, plants, plant life, and gravity. Those are 3 things that we've heard already for the second idea. Okay, plants would help our environment stay, whether we're in a dome or however our atmosphere is contained, that would help. What do you think, Hannah?
I think we should have oxygen.
Oxygen is part of the atmosphere.
Okay, then I think plant life.
Plant life is more important than water?
Oh no! Water.
You think water is more important than plant life? Plant life and water are more important than gravity?
I think it is. You're confusing.
It is kind of all tied together. Robert said gravity. They were also talking about plant life and water. And one of the people made the point that if we don't have water, we can't have plant life. Did you hear that? Yeah, that's what we were kind of talking about. So the 3 things we're talking about right now are plant life, water, and gravity.
The students work in groups, assuming roles as different kinds of experts, such as astronomers, meteorologists, geologists, sociologists, psychologists, and biologists. The groups then explore the solar system using the internet. They are to examine different locations in the solar system from their expert perspectives, looking for the best place to start a colony. The instructor gives a clear explanation of the procedures the students are to follow. She also provides the students with tools that will help them organize both their search and the information they find. The teacher demonstrates an element of pedagogy in her organization of this part of the WebQuest activity. The students are given materials that help them gather and process information step by step. This helps to keep the learners engaged in the activity.
In your homogeneous groups, you're going to it's a fancy word for all the same role. You're going to work as astronomers, meteorologists, geologists, psychologists, sociologists, and biologists. And your task is going to be to study the planet from your perspective. Now, you've already got some ideas about what may be the best possibilities. And then from your perspective, you need to decide what planets may work the best. You're going to need to be able to describe the location that you want. You're going to need to be able to explain the reasons you chose it. And you're going to need to be able to explain some adaptations you might have to make. Now, as with the other things that we've done, you've got a recording sheet that you're going to have to fill out. For instance, here is all the, this is a biologist recording sheet. What you have to do is answer the questions that are on the WebQuest, and then you have to take that data and decide, as a group of biologists, this is our first choice for colonization.
One learner resists working with his peers because he didn't get to play the role he wanted. The teacher demonstrates covenant management, an element of classroom management in an attempt to solve the discipline problem. The teacher expresses concern for the student as an individual, trying to build a relationship of trust. She reviews the process the group used to assign roles and reaffirms its fairness. The instructor gives the student an alternative that would allow him to play the role assigned to him in class and the role that he wanted on his own. She also prompts him to reflect on the importance of his contribution to the group as a whole.
What's the problem? Well, you know what, there isn't anything else we can do. Why not? What did you want?
The astronomer.
You wanted to be the astronomer? How did that get decided?
Number.
By number? Don't.
I said it like an hour ago now.
Well, I know, but do you think that's a fair way to figure it out?
Yeah.
But you just don't like the outcome of it? Well, we're going to be able to come back together. I think that this date will be interesting to find out, too. What kind of things did you want to look at with the astronomer? You just thought that would be a cool role to be?
Yeah.
Can you work with this one? What are you going to do? I would assume you don't want to be without any credit for what you're doing, right? How many people are normally in your group? Do you have a group of 5?
6.
5 people, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I tell you what, if you'll work on this geology thing, I'll send home another packet for the astronomer, and you can do that too. Would that be all right? Well, Brad, there isn't a whole lot. That's the best I can do with this situation. Is there something else going on that's a problem? It's just that you didn't get the role you wanted? Who was the person that got the role you wanted? Robert, and he just got it because he guessed the right number?
Closest to it.
Closest to the right number? What do you think would have been more fair? Well, if you don't do that role, there isn't going to be anybody representing the geologist. So it's pretty important that you do it. You would be working with Drew. Could you work with Drew? Would that work? I'm going to give you this one too. So if you want to, do you have the internet at home?
No.
You don't? Do you want to come in maybe at lunch or before or after school and look at this one too? Should I just keep it? Okay, Drew is working on the geologist too, so if you can work with him, that would be good.